Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into a topic I know a lot of you are fired up about, and that's turning your passions into profit, especially with ebooks.
It's a pretty exciting world out there, right?
Absolutely. We love to get practical here, so we're going to really break down how to build a whole platform, a whole business around your area of
Yeah,
expertise.
we're not just talking about throwing a digital file up for sale, right?
Exactly. Think of it this way. Let's say we've got our friend Mark. Mark's a passionate foodie, spent years traveling the world, collecting incredible recipes everywhere he goes. Now he's got this amazing collection, and he wants to share it. He sees the potential for an ebook, but like a lot of us, he's not sure how to make it more than just a book. He wants to build something bigger around his love for food.
And that's where this deep dive comes in. We're taking cues from a recent episode of the Digipalms podcast.
Oh yeah, the one with Kenny Martiny, right.
That's the one. He really broke down this whole process, turning ebooks into successful online businesses. So we thought, why not unpack his insights, see what we can apply to Mark's situation, and of course all of you listening who have their own passions and expertise.
Exactly. It's all about that practical application. And speaking of expertise, so glad to have you here to guide us.
Always happy to dig into this stuff. Kenny dropped some seriously useful knowledge bombs in that episode, so I'm excited to dive in.
Perfect. So let's get right to it. One of the first things Kenny stressed was the importance of niche, like really honing in on that specific area where your expertise shines. Would you say that's fair to say?
100%. He kept saying that the most successful ebook authors aren't generalists. They find those unique spaces in the market where their specific knowledge is in high demand. They're not just another face in the crowd.
Right, because everyone's an expert in something, right? It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion and experience meet an audience that's hungry for that specific knowledge.
Exactly. It's like, everyone and their grandma has a food blog these days, but then you come across one that's hyper-focused on, say, vegan keto baking for people with nut allergies, and suddenly you're intrigued.
Because it's so specific, so laser-focused, it cuts through the noise.
Exactly. And Kenny actually gave some really concrete steps to identify that niche, which I think would be helpful to unpack in a bit.
Definitely we should circle back to that. But first, I'm curious, how does this niche concept apply to our friend Mark and his collection of global recipes? Like, it's not enough to just offer another generic cookbook, right?
Right. He needs to find his secret ingredient, what makes his collection stand out.
So if we're thinking about Mark's situation, what are some questions he could be asking himself to really pinpoint his niche?
Well, he's got all this experience with global cuisine, right?
Yeah.
So does he focus on a specific region's dishes? Yeah. Maybe the street food he's encountered in his travels? Or does he specialize in something like, I don't know, recreating those gourmet dishes he's tried in Michelin star restaurants, but on a budget?
Interesting. So it sounds like it's about identifying that unique angle, that specific expertise that sets him apart from all the other recipe books out there.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what makes your knowledge unique.
Right.
And Kenny really emphasized that in the podcast.
And I think that's something we all need to think about, right? Whether it's food or any other passion, it's about honing in on that specific niche where our knowledge can truly shine. It makes you think about all the possibilities, right? Like, what's your unique spin on things?
Totally. And, once you've got that niche nailed down, Kenny's next big point was all about the actual content itself.
Yeah, because a catchy title and a cool niche will only get you so far, right?
Exactly. He's a firm believer in content is king. You got to deliver the goods.
Right, like in Mark's case, let's say he decides to focus on recreating those amazing street food dishes he discovered on his travels. That's a cool niche, but the recipes themselves have to be top-notch, and not just the recipes.
Yeah, the whole package. Kenny talked about how important the writing style is, especially for a food ebook. You got to make those recipes come to life, Use sensory details, tell the story behind the dish, maybe even weave in some personal anecdotes from his travels.
Oh, I love that, because food is so much more than just ingredients, right? It's an experience. It's about memories and culture and those mouth-watering descriptions that make you want to lick the page.
Exactly. And for a visual element, Kenny mentioned using high-quality photography. I mean, come on, we all eat with our eyes first.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I bet Mark has some incredible photos from his travels. Imagine those vibrant shots of street markets, those sizzling woks, the colorful spices.
It's all about painting a picture, immersing your readers in that world.
Yeah.
Kenny actually gave a great example on the podcast. He talked about this food blogger who turned her ebook into a bestseller. And a big part of it was her stunning photography. Like, she even included these little tips on food styling.
Oh, that's smart. It's like taking it a step further, giving people that extra value. Okay, so Mark's got his niche. He's creating drool-worthy recipes, snapping amazing photos. But how does he actually get the word out there? How does he build buzz?
That's where Kenny's marketing magic comes into play. And one of his biggest things was all about building anticipation before the ebook even launches.
Oh, interesting. So not just dropping it out of the blue, hoping for the best. You want to create some excitement beforehand.
Exactly. He gave this example, I think it was an author, who did this whole countdown thing on social media, like revealing a new recipe ingredient each day leading up to the launch.
Oh, I've seen authors do that. Or like releasing a chapter for free as a sneak peek. It's smart, right? It gets people talking, piques their curiosity.
Precisely. Kenny's all about those strategic little teasers to build that pre-launch momentum.
Yeah.
And for someone like Mark, with his street food concept, imagine the possibilities.
Oh, totally. Like he could share these short videos, maybe some behind the scenes footage of him recreating a dish, capturing the sights and sounds of a bustling night market.
Right. Get people salivating, make them feel like they're right there with him, and then boom, ebook launch.
I love it. Okay, so we've got a strong niche, incredible content, a buzz building around the ebook. Is there anything else? What else did Kenny highlight?
Well, he didn't just stop at the launch. He talked about something he called scalability. Like, how do you make your ebook more than just a one-time sale?
Oh, right, because it can be so much bigger than that. Like, I'm thinking of those fitness influencers who start with an ebook of workout routines, and then they branch out into online coaching, meal plans, even their own lines of workout gear.
That's a perfect example. Kenny talked about how those who really nail it, they use the ebook as a foundation to build a whole brand.
So it's about thinking beyond the book itself, seeing it as a stepping stone.
Yeah, like for Mark, his street food ebook could be the gateway to online cooking classes. Maybe he starts selling curated spice blends, or you could even offer personalized meal planning consultations based on people's dietary needs and preferences.
Wow, so many possibilities. It's like taking that initial passion, that core expertise, and expanding it outward, creating a whole ecosystem around it.
You got it. That's what can turn a one-time project into a sustainable business. And that's the exciting part, right? It's not just about selling a product, it's about creating something that can grow and evolve alongside your passion.
Absolutely. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I think it's important to touch on one more key point that Kenny made. And it's something that a lot of people might overlook, especially when they're thinking about digital products.
You're talking about going global.
Exactly, because Mark's street food recipes, they're not limited by geography, right? He could be sharing his culinary adventures with the entire world.
Oh, absolutely. And in the podcast, Kenny really hammered home how platforms like Amazon and others have made it easier than ever to reach a global audience.
Right. It's amazing to think that someone could be learning how to make authentic pad thai from a chef in Thailand, all through an ebook.
Exactly. And Kenny actually shared some interesting examples of authors who found huge success by specifically targeting international markets.
I bet. Like, did he mention anything about translating the ebooks for different languages?
He did. He talked about how some authors saw a massive jump in sales just by making that one change, by partnering with translators to make their content accessible to a wider audience.
Smart move. It's like,
Yeah.
you've already done the work of creating the content. Why not open it up to as many people as possible?
Exactly. It's about breaking down those language barriers and sharing those passions on a global scale.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up our deep dive, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, community. You said that Kenny kept coming back to that as a crucial element for ebook success.
He did. And I think it's something that often gets overlooked. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the technical stuff, the marketing, all of that. But at the end of the day, people connect with people.
So it's not enough to just have a great product. You need to create a space for people to connect over that shared interest.
Right. And Kenny talked about how the most successful ebook authors, they understand this. They don't just sell a book. They cultivate a community around their passion.
Oh, I love that. So for someone like Mark, it's about more than just sharing his recipes. It's about building a tribe of fellow food lovers.
Exactly. Like he could create a Facebook group where people share photos of their street food creations. Maybe he hosts online Q&A sessions where people can pick his brain about all things culinary. The possibilities are endless.
That's amazing. And it all circles back to that human connection, right?
Totally. It's about fostering a sense of belonging, of shared passion, and that can be incredibly powerful, not just for driving sales, but for creating a real impact.
And I think that's a perfect note to end on. This idea that turning your passions into profit is about so much more than just the bottom line.
It really is.
It's about finding your niche, sharing your expertise, and ultimately building a community around something you love. And who knows, your ebook could be the spark that ignites a whole movement. So, to all of you listening, if you've been sitting on an idea, a passion that you're ready to share with the world, take the leap. And remember the lessons we've unpacked today. Find your niche, craft exceptional content, build excitement, think beyond the book, embrace the global community, and most importantly, cultivate that sense of connection with your audience. Because at the end of the day, it's that shared passion that truly makes the journey worthwhile. Until next time, happy creating.
Thanks for tuning in to another engaging session on the DigiPalms podcast. Don't leave just yet. Subscribe to join our community and never miss out on our cutting-edge discussions. See you next time.
Nickel plate.